Philadelphia, native Philadelphia. Back to you, Mark.
And right now we are in the midst of the final mini race. It is 3 laps around a 3-mile circuit running from Logan Circle to Lemon Hill.
And we've no sooner caught Marty Jemison than we have another rider on the attack, and it looks like a Saturn rider going clear, and I think it's Fred Rodriguez.
Saturn playing their card now, having to make a move. Freddie Rodriguez riding very strongly today, but the Postal Service bringing him right back quickly to heel Fred Rodriguez. We're going to see a lot of individual moves here, but it's because of the team strategies. There's enough of the strong teams with strong riders still up there that it may well stay together. And right away, there goes the U.S. Postal Service. Roberto Gaggioli covering that move. So a lot of instant acceleration and shutting down right away. You're looking to go and look back and see everybody kind of swing back. No one's doing that just yet. U.S. Postal Service, Saturn rider, starting to make the moves.
Well, this is what we anticipated would now happen. It's going to get harder and harder to try and lift it. This is Bart Bowen, who's had to go now. He's been marshalled out of it by the rival trade team here, U.S. Postal Service.
U.S. Postal Service having the dominant numbers in this group. 3 riders, very enviable position. And number 71, Phil Cable, having a terrific ride for Navigators. He's up there by himself, certainly impressing a potential future sponsor, or maybe Navigators just wanting to stay with him, obviously, but needing to commit some more resource to the sport.
And so this is still anybody's race from this front group. And Phil Cable, he is a rider we would not have expected to have been in at the kill just at this time of the race, but there he is. He was 16th in the U.S. Olympic trials, which was race number 3 down at Pittsburgh, the Swift Road Classic. And he is a good rider. He's won 11 races during his Pro-Am career.
The riders going by with Jeff Evanshine, Mike marking Tyler Hamilton. Tyler riding tremendously well, but again, clearly not known as a sprinter, a very strong time trialist. He is neither Bart Bowen known as a sprinter. Roberto Gaggioli, probably the best known finisher in this group, but it is totally dependent on how heavy the race has made a dent on your legs as to whether you can sprint or not at the end of this event.
There's Bart Bowen, won the title once. Picked up the championship back in 1992. Time for another one, he says.
Well, he's working potentially for Fred Rodriguez because he's carrying the pace here for no obvious reason. He's just trying to keep everything going, keep going along. Because again, also, it's extremely hard to get away from a slow field. Darren Baker going up the side, but going nowhere.
A little bit of a dummy. Followed by...
fake move. Darren Baker, not the dummy, just the move.
No, absolutely not the dummy. Commentator's the dummy. Second place man that marked him out a bit there was Fred Rodriguez, so they're waiting for moves now, they're watching for moves. That's going to make it even harder to break this field up.
Yeah, extremely hard to get away because everyone's watching each other, and it could come down to a 13-man bunch sprint here.
Well, because don't forget we lost power on the climber.
Correct. Darren Baker sitting on the back. He may or may not have something left. You know, he made a very strong move the last time up Manioc Wall. He had made a strong move there earlier, and it just may have cost him the energy to try to make a solo move. But as long as he sits on the back, he's getting a little bit more rest than the riders on the front. But from that back position, if someone goes from second or third position, there's no way you can react to that.
Well, back around again. 2 full 3-mile laps still to come. This cat and mouse tactics is costing us a record time for the ride, I think. As we come into the last 13 minutes of the race, it's going to be outside of 6 hours now.
Well, and they finally slowed down. No pressing need to keep the pace up anymore. They're just marking each other, and it will be difficult for any one individual rider to get away, unless it's a rider who isn't from one of these strong teams, and he's just a surprise. You see Graham Miller coming across on the other side of the finish line, right as the leaders go through with 2 to go. We've got an attack coming up.
You know, Davis, Graham Miller is going very, very quickly. And he might well close this gap if they continue these tactics. There's Baker done again.
Yeah, I think they're going
to go.
Followed by Freddie Rodriguez. So everyone marking each other. Yeah, Freddie having a great ride. Fred also is a very fast finisher, but he is young yet. Not to say he can't win this race, but still, when you're young, it's hard to have your full speed in your legs after 156 miles. Takes a few years under your belt to really build your whole speed. George Hincapie has some of that same problem.
They've come back into the fold again. Now it's time to find somebody else. They've slowed right down once more and riding very steadily. Behind is Graham Miller, and if Graham Miller gets onto this group, he packs the finishing sprint that could win in the race, but not the title, because Miller is from New Zealand.
It's extremely frustrating to be in this group at this point, knowing that you feel good, but say you're not a sprinter, no one's letting you go, no one's letting you do anything, and so when it slows down like this, it sort of throws you off your game. Here goes the U.S. Postal Service rider from the back, looks like Tyler Hamilton, and no, again, another soft attack, so to speak. You can't really attack from the back of a bunch like this, because by the time you go by 10 guys, they already know you're going to the front. You really have to try to take them by surprise, and it's just, it's too long of a string of guys to pass. By the time they already know you're up to speed, they're up to speed.
Well, it's a long time since I've seen a championship like this, where a bunch is so big, and yet they're employing such cat-and-mouse tactics, just watching each other, waiting, almost inviting the attack so they can chase them down. It's a very nervous race right now, and here comes Greg Randall. Somebody left the door open, so Randall's had to go around and close it. And there's also a little bit of shenanigans at the back here, because what's happening is riders in the middle of the line are slowing down to allow the gaps to open, to force the riders at the back to sprint back to the gap and thereby use energy. And that's what they forced Randolph to do just then.
You don't want to be caught out behind the split like that. Well, no, you know, at this point, these guys might be friends off the bike, but I tell you what, you're getting out there and you're just absolutely only thinking about one thing, and that's
$25,000.
Getting yourself or your teammate across the line first. Jeff Evanshine making a nice, strong statement here at the front of this race. Just hoping that Chris Horner, who's shown good strength in finishes before, will be able to last it out if it stays together. But Jeff Evanshine, really a tremendous team ride for him today, and a great job by U.S. National road coach Roy Nickman in getting the man back into the race. Chris Horner seen at the back, his teammate Jeff Evanshine just holding the pace steady, keeping everyone together at the front. Chris Horner has a good shot of either winning or placing well, at least in the top three in a bunch finish, but they've got to keep some of these guys together, and this kind of, anything can happen when it slows up like this. Be preferable if you were a sprinter, just have one of your teammates just ride steady all the way to the finish line.
Exactly. This is a very nervous piece of bike riding by all of them now, and the stop-start really hurts the legs. You have to kick all of the time, then you slow down, and you start kicking again, and the old legs are not feeling too lively right now after 5 hours and 51 minutes. Pedals. And they do.
And you know what? There's only so many of those moves you have in your legs. He's been sitting on the back. You make one move, you're out front for a mile, and that's really it for your legs. I mean, I would be surprised if Darren could go off if they catch him again, but he's still holding a slender lead. But it's keeping the pace higher now, which again favors the non-sprinters. It's taking more of the sting out of the fast riders' legs by keeping the pace up. Every time they slow up, it's just a benefit for the guys who have that fast twitch muscle, because it gives them a little bit more rest, allows them to conserve a little bit more energy.
Well, you know, I really don't know which one of these riders could carry out the championship now. They're so evenly balanced. This is why they're riding like this, because they know each other is now more or less at the limit of his ability for the day. It could go anywhere at all, this championship now, amongst these 12 riders. As yet more attacks are going underway with US Postal. There's the clock. We're out into the final lap, so we'll be outside the 6 hours for the ride. What a great race this really has been today. Here come the riders. Look at the crowd as they get the bell this time through. Just listen for it.
One lap to go. You can hear the announcers generating enthusiasm here as Phil Cable trying to make a move. Desperate to get clear. 3 miles left in this race. One more climb up Levin Hill. Who has the legs? Who has anything left of this group?
There's the door, the back being left open again to make riders sprint the gap closed, and it was Chris Horner got caught that time. 1 lap to go. Phil Cable, the virtual unknown of this group, if he's going to pull off the big surprise, that's what it would be if he won this race today. But what a winner. The big teams would be out for him if he won.
Roberto Gaggioli zipping up his jersey. He is a very fast finisher, known well for his sprint, more so than any of these other riders, I guess I would say, in terms of the fast finishing. Roberto Gaggioli, Freddie Rodriguez.
He doesn't count for the U.S. title.
No.
He's an Italian.
He's one of the few riders up here. You know what's been interesting about this race is that it is almost completely American teams and almost completely American riders.
They've had a great day today, but watch out for the man we know nothing about, Asier Guentia, number 103. He's right in the center of our picture there in the white jersey. And he hasn't done anything in this breakaway. He has watched all the moves. He hasn't bothered to counter them. He's let the Americans do the chasing. But he's said to be a very, very, very fast sprinter indeed. And I don't know if they know it.
Finished 11th in the race, the Core States race, the Core States Classic in Trenton just the other night. So he wants to make an impression here, but he is a complete unknown to any of these other guys. And they have just got to be worried about what the heck they're going to be doing as another attack goes up the road right when Tom Schuler tries to give some information. An attack goes.
And this is Jeff Evanshine countering it. So it's clearly not Chris Horner who's ahead. Now the split again.
Roberto Gaggioli closing the gap. Phil Cable.
Well, this is an amazing race. We're going into the last 2.5 miles now. Into heading out for the final climb of Lemon Hill. This huge, huge crowd is now crowding the road here to get a glimpse of the winner. When he comes up to the line, he's going to get an enormous cheer. This has been such a great bike race today. It's come down to what was a baker's dozen. Then we lost Steve Bow on the final climb of the Manayunk Wall. We're left with 12 riders.
Just on 6 hours here, 5:57 so far. So 6 hours of bike racing in their legs already. 154 miles covered. There's just over 2 miles to go with Darren Baker taking it out over the top. A last gas shot and going away on Lemon Hill. He's got to give everything here. He's got two mates left to go, and we've lost one. Marty Jameson finally giving it up. The man who made such a tremendous solo move earlier has lost his strength.
But he's played his part in getting the team as a team of strength into this breakaway. Jeff Evanshine marked out well there. They come together. Somebody else takes a fly off the front. This breakaway very much under pressure. Marty's been dropped. I don't think he'll get back because the pressure should stay on now as they go down off the climb and head down towards the final mile of this championship.
So everyone relatively together there. Two riders with a little bit of space between them. U.S. Postal Service rider could be Tyler Hamilton. It is Fred Rodriguez on his wheel, marking him.
Two ex-amateur teammates, now rivals in the professional game.
Darren Baker up there.
Waiting for somebody else to make the move. Roberto Gaggioli surely is feeling that this race is swinging in his direction, but then as far as we know, so too would Asier Guentia, because he is also a very good sprinter.
And there goes one more attack for Darren Baker, and no one is going to cross on his wheel. Oh, there it is. He's got a stand right. You cannot let anyone go at this point in the race. You've got to cover them immediately, and it's all a matter of not wanting to make the effort yourself. Roberto Gaggioli trying to close up that gap. This break splitting up a little bit now. 1.5 miles to go as they come down the parkway. They seem to be pulling it all back together. Fred Rodriguez trying so hard just to get back up there.
Bob Bowen, who's got up to down Baker. But again, they've clawed their way back. Gaggioli is now watching every move because he, as a sprinter, he doesn't want to be caught with a small group or a single man going away, which will rob him of his great day.
You know what? There may be one more opportunity for one guy to go away alone here, and otherwise it may well be all 12 riders together here, Phil. And here we go. Another attack. Looks to be Jeff Evanshine going. But everyone is covering so strongly now because the pace is not that hard. Right. You see the gaps opening here.
See, the door opens in the middle. It makes the riders at the back come through. Evanshine looks over his shoulder.
You got to go off a move, and Freddie Rodriguez is doing that. Freddie Rodriguez trying to make something happen here. They're sport together.
Rodriguez, Evanshine, Gregus.
Jeff Evanshine.
And they're onto the parkway for the last time. A great cheer from the crowd. They've really enjoyed their day today. Evanshine, their old arms will be tingling now as the nerves course, because they know now this is it. It's going to be a sprint unless somebody can pull off the jump of their lives and get away. And look at this. It's now Shine going again.
Jeff Evanshine putting everything into this ride. The man has been off the front all day, and here he is bearing his head, a former junior world champion, 1991, the last man to make a stab at a solo victory. Lest we get a bunch sprint, but he's looking up. It looks like he's soft pedaling just a little bit. They may be on him.
They've got him as they go down to the far turn for the final time. Evanshine has been reeled in yet again. The US Postal boys versus the Saturn boys, or will Chris Horner shock them all and pull off a sprint, or indeed will the Uscardi rider do the same? And let's not forget either number 11 in the green jersey, Roberto Gaggioli.
And you know who is also a potential dark horse here? We do not know how well Greg Randolph sprints. He is an unknown quantity here. That could be the winning move by a U.S. Postal Service rider right there. No one going on his wheel. He's making the move. Could it be Darren Baker making a last move? No one on his wheel. He's got 500 meters to go around this corner. Everyone marking so closely until the end.
I
think you might be right. Eddie Gregg is trying to make a move. This could be the winning move. Everyone is spinning up. Everyone is spinning up. No one is falling. If Eddie Gregg wins this race, the man came out of the Mortal Bismarck Bike Shop team in Boulder, Colorado to get on this team. What a terrific ride for him. What a surprise.
And remember that Eddie Gregus was the man who was in desperate trouble on the wall. He was left by the leaders on the wall. He suffered his way to get back into this group, and once we came away from the wall, he then found his strength again. He's now, can he hang on for the last few desperate meters as they start to slip behind? Gaggioli is coming with Rodriguez, too late. Eddie Gregus gets it. Second will be Gaggioli. Third will be Rodriguez. Fourth, Randolph. That was the order on the line. Fifth to be Barbo. But it's all too late. And we are just a hair outside the record. 6 hours, 2 minutes, 34 seconds. That was the time. Eddie Gregus is the new United States Open champion.
So Eddie Gregus, as they were rounding the Logan Circle one final time, surprised everyone, broke away, no one crossed him, and he was the first to cross the finish line to win the 12th Course State USPRO Championship. We'll have more right after this.